Kia ora, my name is Thomas, and here in Aotearoa and Oz, we're heading into winter, which is peak rat and mouse season. You're probably seeing more rats, we're definitely seeing more rats. They're looking for new food sources and somewhere warm and dry to live. So, what do? Here are some tips. This is our trap warrant of fitness. Most of us forget our traps over summer, and so we need to make sure that they're ready and live to work over the winter. So for that, I've got my workmate Jake, who's got a trap here that we need to check out.
I don't even know if this is working.
When was the last time that you checked this trap?
8 months ago.
8 months ago. Okay, so that means we've got about 4 different things that we need to run through for this WAF. The first one is whether it's firing. If it's not firing, you're not going to catch anything.
True.
So if we take this cap off, we'll see in there that there's a little trigger. Just want you to push that to the side.
Nada.
Cool. So if it's not firing, you're not going to catch anything. So it just means we need to change the gas.
Take the old gas out. New gas in.
So the next thing that we need to check is the lure in the automatic paste pump. If we look here, there's just a little bit of lure in the old one, which is pretty normal. And if we take it out of the top, you can see that it is hard to the touch, which means it has fully inflated over that 6 months and we need to replace it. First thing we need to do is take the 10-cent coin off the top to activate it, and then you can put it into the top itself.
Alright,
once he's in, take him off. Whole thing on top of the trap, and there we are. Is it registering kills? Green tick means yes. Put the trap back out and do some pre-feeding. Get those rats used to the lure and get excited for it. So this trap is now good to go and will look after itself over winter and spring. The more you check your trap, the more success you'll get. And that applies to all traps, not just ours. So no matter what you're trapping with, now is the time to do this mahi. Should you move your trap in winter? If it's already catching, then you don't need to. But if it isn't, you may want to move it to a different spot.
Like here? Here? What about here? Like here? There?
More like here. Under here. Round here. Here's a good spot. Over here. In here. Or even up in here. Start, you want to put your traps in a place that is sheltered and has as little to eat for the rats as possible. So places like your compost or your chicken coop, no go. But places like underneath your house or in your garage are great. This applies to all sorts of traps, not just ours, and just try some stuff. Every situation's different, so you might find it's better in some places than others. Just give it a go. As it gets colder and food becomes harder to find, your house becomes a toasty mansion full of delicious treats. But they aren't welcome here. Seeing or hearing a rodent in your home is the absolute worst. And as we get closer to winter, you're going to hear that more and more. So what can you do about it? Here's my 4-step plan for what to do if you've heard a rodent in your home. Step 1 is to panic. Well, don't panic, but it's okay to freak out. Most people do. Even those of us that do this every day. So have a quick scream.
I know you're up there!
And just remember that you have a plan. Step 2, find out what they're eating. Indoors, they could be eating things like pet food, getting into open containers, or any scraps that are left on the bench. Outside, they're probably getting into things like your compost bin and the winter veggie garden. Leading into winter, compost bins are full. They're loaded with summer's harvest, making them warm and full of food, which rats love. At this time of year, things like beetroot, kale, and carrots are all ready to harvest. It's a rat buffet. You want to cut the rats off from these, so clean it up and contain them as best you can. Once they lose their main food source, they'll start hunting for another one. Your trap. Step 3, get as many traps as you can up there, in the roof, and out here, in the veggie garden. We don't recommend using bait, it's inhumane, takes a long time to kill, and they can end up in your walls stinking up the house. It's the absolute worst. Instead, we recommend putting out some of these, and obviously, some of these. These are quite high maintenance for constant year-round control, but they're good for an emergency like this, and fairly humane when brand new. Step 4, make your traps tasty. If you found out what they were eating in step 2, use that as a lure in your traps. They already love it, so you know they'll go for it. If you're using our traps, we even have a neat little accessory called a lure basket. That means you don't have to use our lures and you can put whatever you want in there. If you want one, just give us a call or flick us an email. Otherwise, you can use our rodent paste to attract them. Just don't forget to pre-feed. This gives the rats more opportunity to get a taste for the lure. Once they have that, they'll seek out more of it. And that's the key. There will be more than one. So don't stop when you catch the first. Keep your traps set and lured to catch the rest of them, good nature or otherwise. And don't worry too much, they won't be here for long. Come spring, they'll be moving out when the sun comes out and food becomes more plentiful. If you've tried all this and you still have unwanted visitors, we're always here to help. Just get in touch with us. What is pre-feeding? It's taking the lure that's in your trap and spreading it around the trap to give those rats a taste of it. Pre-feeding is important to give your rats and mice an entree of what's already in your trap. It gives them a chance to get a taste for the lure, which they should find pretty nice, so they'll seek out more of it. Winter is a great time to do some pre-feeding. The wild summer food is starting to disappear and the rats are willing to take some new risks and find a new food source. To get you started, here are my tips for winter pre-feeding. To get the most out of your pre-feeding, pre-feed with the same stuff that's in your trap. Regardless of whether that's our paste, cat biscuits, peanut butter, cheese, whatever it is, keep it the same. No point getting them hooked on cheese when chocolate's in the trap. Pre-feed for a week and then stop. You want them eager for more, sniffing out the lure and climbing into it. If you move your trap, pre-feed in the new spot to encourage them even more. Pre-feeding sounds simple, and it is, but it's the magic trick that will get your trap catching. It will make sure you catch the rat you've seen and all his mates who you haven't. Is it safe to move your trap indoors? Absolutely. That's why we have the trap stand. It helps you move it around to let it go wherever the rats are. You just might have a few things to consider first. If you're bringing the trap inside, it might be around kids or pets. So here are some tips to keep the family safe.
This is Mac. What's your name? It's Archie.
First up, our traps are a lot safer than other pest control methods you might be using, like bait or snap traps. But even our traps come with some risk. If they weren't dangerous, they wouldn't work. Put it high, where they can't reach, or behind a child-proofed door. If you have small kids in the house, treat the trap like you would anything else that's dangerous, like a knife, or a lighter, or any other chemicals that you may have. Keep them high up, or behind a child-proof door. If your kids are a bit older, teach them that the trap is dangerous and shouldn't be touched.
Hey Archie, come testify this trap.
No!
Why not?
One way to do that, and what we recommend, is to test fire the trap. Put the fear of God in them. With any trap, it's better to be safe than sorry.
So what happens if I do get a dog, say German Ritzler?
So if you do get a dog or you have any other pets, treat it like you would treat chocolate. Put the trap somewhere where the dog can't get to it when it's unattended. Speaking of chocolate, we do have a chocolate paste to use in our traps, but we don't recommend using it around dogs. The risk is pretty low, they'd have to eat 50 of these to get sick, but again, better safe than sorry. If you want to be 110% sure about using your traps around pets, set the traps up with the lure, but don't make them live. In our case, don't screw the gas canister in. From there, just watch. See what your pets are doing. Are they interested? Are they investigating? Or do they just ignore it? Most of our customers tell us that they're not interested in the trap, but what they are interested in is the bodies underneath it. As a further precaution, put the trap somewhere where your pets can't get to. Preferably somewhere warm and concealed, which has the bonus of being the exact place rats love. You know your kids and pets better than we do, so use your best judgment. But if you have any issues or need any further help, give us a call. We're more than happy to help. Happy trapping.